people want.
The Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
In fact, the United Party is not cohesive. Be it social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without a diaspora impact.
For sponsorship, call cell numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com.
Diaspora Talk, from this house.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kent. Welcome to Brooklyn Chiropractic. Come to Brooklyn Chiropractic if you're having any back or neck pain. Especially, we specialize in treating people in auto and work-related injuries. We've been established here in Brooklyn Center for the last 14 years. And one of the pleasures that I have is helping out in the community. We've sponsored a lot of events throughout the years in the community, and we really appreciate being a part of the community. So if you're experiencing any pain, give us a try. If you want a drug-free way to get better. Thank you.
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference.
It's a pleasure to welcome you on the Diaspora Talk. My name is Nathan Charles, sitting on the presenter seat. My colleague Cyrus McGee is not here today. He will hopefully be joining us, and Joanne Prousey will be joining us via technology from the comfort of her home. And we'll also be talking to a couple of Liberians here who will be sharing their own insight on this historic day in Liberia. Former Vice President Joseph Boakai has announced Jeremiah Koung as his running mate. They call him Rescue 2. Is he the person to help Joseph Boakai boot out President George Weah of the Coalition for Democratic Change government? We'll be discussing with other prominent Liberians here. And also on the flip side, we'll be talking to an author, Josephine, who just is expected to launch her book. So this is Diaspora Talk. We are live to you on this historic day in Liberia. We'll be talking the cross section of Liberians soon as the John will announce them already. Abdullah Mohammed is in the back, and we'll be bringing other people to discuss this issue, the nomination of Jeremiah Koung as Senator Jeremiah Koung as vice presidential nominee to Joseph Boakai in the October elections. Hey, is that a good pick for Senator Jeremiah Koung? Is he the one to help Joseph Boakai capture the presidency of Liberia? Let's see if we can play you some excerpt here from Joseph Boakai announcing Jeremiah Koung as his running mate as we await our guests to come in and usher them into this discussion.
to mention that occurred again to his Alara Koga in the NBC, the Honorable Reginald Goodrich, and the Rainbow Alliance, and the transportation, the collaboration with us, and ladies and my dear Nigeria, my dear Nigeria, the president has said that selected as a running mate. Like many of you share my vision of building this country better than it is. And like many of you and many of us, we have a humble beginning, working very hard through the years to pull himself from our own bootstraps to provide for the family and community. My running mate is compassionate. He has proven poverty and therefore understands the plight of the average person, the young people, the millions of Nigerians struggling to survive. It is therefore my pleasure at this time to announce the Senator Jeremiah Koung.
So that's the same day after former Vice President Joseph Boakai announced Senator Jeremiah Koung as his running mate in this October election to kick out the Coalition for Democratic Change standard bearer Joseph Boakai. But let's see. This time, let's bring out my colleague Joanne Proud CA. Joanne, welcome. And through technology, we are bringing the show. How is it like? What's the momentum like from social media? You've been following the nomination of Jeremiah Koung.
It's kind of been like, I think 50-50. A lot of people are excited, and there are people who are
Joanne, your internet is breaking. Let's see if we can go ahead. You are breaking.
I'm not okay. I can try to change my location, but
Okay, yes, and let's put your phone in landscape when you coming out next time. Let's see if we can bring out our political analyst and commentator Abdullah. Welcome to this Diaspora Talk.
Thank you, and good to be joining you.
How is it like? What's your own impression, reaction to this big news? Jeremiah Koung selected or announced as running mate Rescue 2. They call him.
We think that Joseph Boakai decided to make a critical choice between what he considered to be the possibility to win over a choice of having a competent, qualified, experienced, and a ticket that will present hope to the Liberian people that the new government they expect will be different from what they have now. So I think it's an issue of prioritization. He prioritized winning the election. He believes that the people of Nimba will stand with their son, and on that basis, he will get the vote that will take him into the second round, eventually win. So we see the ticket on the other side. On the other side, we don't see the ticket to be a ticket a ticket that gives guarantee for any significant change. To be honest, the ticket is, as Joseph Boakai as president, will not be a disastrous president like George Weah, but wouldn't show any significant change from what we see happening today. Jeremiah Koung, that he picks as his vice president, who will preside over the Senate if they win, has been an agent of all the bad things in the Liberian Senate. So,
you see that?
Follow Jeremiah Koung's record. I'm not saying whether he has come up publicly to condemn government. You don't need to do that. But you can see a record of Mr. Koung pursuing any real progressive agenda. I mean, just to call on the government to say increase the budget for schools, increase the budget for hospital and health care, pave the roads, and ensure they are done. Ask for budget performance report as the law requires them to do as a responsibility. Those were not things he did from being representative to being senator.
Okay, so that's former vice presidents decided to select Jeremiah Koung over because he wants to be president, not over the desire of the people of Liberia. That's why Abdullah is saying so. And he also made mention of Jeremiah Koung's involvement in other situations in Liberia. But let's learn from you some of Mr. Koung's involvement. And is Mr. Koung an political excess baggage for Vice President Joseph Boakai?
It's a governance
Trying to
baggage.
connect our co-host Joanne Proud. See it soon as she comes on. We should be joining this discussion. Go ahead.
He's a governance baggage. He's a reputational baggage, but he's not a political baggage. He's a political asset. He comes from a food-rich county. He has the support of Senator Prince Johnson. The expectation is the people of Nimba will stand with him because they themselves been yearning for an opportunity to lead, to sit in higher leadership position in the country. So they see that as an opportunity they can exploit. So he's not a political baggage. He's a political asset. But his is a governance package. He is a reputational package. And as we go into the campaign, Boakai will need to confront that. Jeremiah Koung, being in the legislature, in the Senate, we can recount number of issues. And domestic debt. The government of Liberia has been piling domestic debts. They've been paying people who don't know. You have a domestic debt list that is flaunted with over $300 million. And government keeps paying these people. People raise the issue. Senator Dillon and other people say, yeah, if when World Bank gives us money, we can be proud to announce that we credit from World Bank. When the IMF give us money, we're proud that we credited from IMF. When other international organizations credit us money, we announce it. So why can't we announce our domestic creditors, but we keep paying them and we can see them?
Okay, so Abdullah, let's hold you there. Let's invite Joanne Prousey, one of our producers here on this program, and she's no stranger to the Liberian media and the Liberian community, the international community. Award-winning journalist Weddy Williams. I call her my Ebola hero. Joanne Prousey, welcome, and Weddy Williams, my Ebola hero. I say welcome to the Diaspora Talk. So Joanne,
thank you, Nathan.
It's good to see you, Weddy.
Good to see you.
Are you ready for spirits for Ebola still? I'm like, whether it's just her body, her pin, just her hand just shaking, say, in Liberia, I'm going to write something like this. Before that nomination and check like everything. Whether
right.
An investigative journalist, it's no joke. She's joining us from Maryland. What do you make of this big news? Jeremiah Koung, where the vice presidential candidate on the ticket of the Unity Party.
Well, I think it's normal for political parties, to select, whoever the running mate is. I think this decision by the standard bearer of the Unity Party is solely based on the fact, that prior elections, Nimba has made a strong showing. So getting a running mate from that region, which is one of the strongest voting blocks in the country, that shows that the political party is ready for business. And that shows that this could be trouble for the ruling establishment.
Joanne, you just joining us. You listening to Madam Weddy Williams. What do you make of her statement? You have any question for her?
I was going to end what I initially started because as we're talking about the entire momentum in Liberia currently and the the feedback we're getting from social media. And as I was saying, it's right now, honestly, for me, before this entire nomination, I had before it got raised on social media about um former VP Boakai choosing his running mate. I did not know who Jeremiah Koung was, and so I know I've seen some really good feedback from a lot of young people who are excited that VP Boakai chose him, and as well as a lot of people too who are absolutely against his pick. However, we cannot tell what is going to be. I know a lot of people were excited, especially with what's currently going on in Liberia, and since the U.S. ambassador to Liberia, Makati, made that press release that had the Liberians going scattered and disappointed, I would say, with the current leadership. And so a lot of people were saying, well, it's time that we make a change, and maybe we should try the Unity Party ticket. But with the current ticket, it's now like, is this actually what we want to do? Is this is this the group that we want to carry? Is this the team we want to carry, or should we just stick with what we're already having? Because the current as the former VP picked, the current Senate Bureau Joe Bug, I picked Jeremiah Kuhn. What are we looking at as a current leader? Because he's currently a leader. What can we point to and say as a leader? This is what he's done. This is what we've seen from him, and so we know as the vice president of Liberia, this is what he's going to do.
Okay, so Abula and Wedi, just
Oh,
checking.
Ambula, hi. How are you? I didn't realize that was you.
Hi, Wedi, I'm here. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to be connected here.
This is the Diaspora Talk. That's what we're here for. So let's look at, was it a slap in the face of Yomblin Kaka Lawrence, Aaron Costa, Wedi, and Abula? Let's hear your take.
For me, I don't know whether Vice President Boakai made definitive commitment to Nyombli and other people, to Nyombli. I also know, at least I spoke to authoritative sources in the Unity Party, and I was told reliably that Costa was not one of the options Joseph Boakai was considering for VP. He announced himself as an option. The motive for announcing himself as an option remains unknown to me, but it could be a political strategy he tried to insert himself. And he did that at the latter part of the process. We all, got ready to support Costa as Senator for Monserrato. We see him as, a face of our generation. We in the same age group, we see him as a, political face in that direction. People may have their criticism of him, but we know his role he has played. So we were prepared to support him against Sir Joseph. That was the plan. That was the agenda. That's the agenda Joe Boakai know. So I think if he inserted himself as a vice presidential candidate, I think he, to some extent, disappointed Joseph Boakai from the beginning, because everybody working together knew that Costa wants to contest as senatorial candidate for Monserrato County. Okay. Let's say 5 days after Bernard Ayure pulled out of the race from being presidential candidate, automatically Costa declared that he's on the list to be vice president. So was it that he and Bernard Ayure from the ALP were on the list at the same time? That's question to answer. So when you're talking about who you might have disappointed in this process, I could say maybe Nyombli Kanga Lawrence, who had the desire, who had the ambition of being vice president, who worked with him, and everybody saw all the optics and all the things associated with it. That could be a disappointment. But for Costa, I can't say definitively it's a disappointment. And as we go forward in the discussion and I will get new information, we'll know whether for sure he was sincerely pushing to be a vice president, or he was just, creating a political scene, that can further build his political capital, for the future.
Madam Williams?
Well, I think Yombly Kanga is it could have been one strong pick if she had made it, into I don't know what the process was, what the I'm sure the decision making for getting someone out of Nimba County is based on their strong showing in previous elections. But Yombly Kanga is a woman, and given the history of Liberia, the election of Madam Sirleaf, and how women are able to mobilize, I think she would have been, she would not have been a disappointing pick if that had happened. But I think she still might have a role in the opposition because she comes from Grand Bassa, which also has great influence when it comes to the electioneering process. And she's a woman also. She has that advantage. But talking about Mr. Henry Costa, I do not think, that Henry Costa might have made it, even though they announced there was so much noise on social media. You cannot measure the Liberian political landscape solely on what people are talking about on social media, because if you look at the country, most of the voters do not have access to social media. There may be a few political actors here and there, a few pundits here and there, but that is not where you market, serious political stuff on social media. And you have to do a lot of groundwork. Where is Mr. Costa known besides, Monrovia, besides probably postings here and there on social media and stuff? And the credibility also comes in, it's also an issue of credibility. So Joe Boakai, being a serious political actor, will not, belittle himself, to go for someone like Henry Costa.
Indeed.
I'm sure it was Mr. Ure trying to play his hands because you know how influential Ure is, with Costa. So, but I'm glad that didn't happen because that would have been a big miss on the part of the UP. And with the Nimba pick, and with the issue of PYJ, it's unfortunate, that PYJ continues to influence Liberian
That was my
political
next question to
landscape.
you.
It is unfortunate, but that's the reality that we live in. He is a strong, even the ruling party, they would not have said no if PYJ was going to support them. So now that the opposition has him on their side, I think this is trouble for whoever is in power for Mr. Weah.
So since we stay with you, we'll come back to Abdullah. Cyrus is trying to join us from his home, his cozy studio there. I can say cozy studio, but the question will be, did Mr. Alexander B. Cummings miss an opportunity? Let's see if we can bring on Cyrus there. That's the question to you, Weddy and Abdullah. Did Alexander Cummings miss up an opportunity for the VP pick? Welcome, Cyrus.
Thank you guys, and it's good to see all of you. Waited a long time, man. It's
Hi,
been over a
Cyrus.
decade.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, and good to see my friend and brother Amulai.
Yeah,
And
good to
just
see you,
jump into
Cyrus.
the center of everything, and it's something that we've been looking out for. The past couple of months when the names emerged, especially it was heavily weighted on Yombly Kanga Lawrence of Grand Bassa and Mr. Alexander Cummings. But I think Cummings made it clear that he was in it to be a president. He was not in it to be vice president. And we kept hearing from the camp of Mr. Boakai that Cummings is not pushing, and Cummings guys are like, Boakai should take the phone and make the call if he wants Cummings. But then lately, we saw the name Henry Costa. It was a huge thing when Costa got for this. And then somebody who most people consider as an outsider to the entire CPP, LP, Unity Party, Jeremiah Koung, who was heavily supported by the CDC through their alliance with Senator Prince Johnson and had to become senator through that arrangement. People see him as an outsider of the opposition bloc. Then up to recently when his name surfaced. So it's been a whole big thing. And I think one thing I would tell people is that I think the ball is now center. And we're looking up to the National Elections Commission, the referee, to safeguard the process. But from the recent appearances of Senator Prince Johnson here and there, it was clear that Jeremiah Koung was the pick. It's just that I needed to hear it from the mouth of Vice President, former Vice President Boakai himself. But I think the writings were clear. We saw the letter from Senator Kanga Lawrence, announcing that her party is meeting, they're listening to their supporters and the rest of them. It was clear that Senator Lawrence was out of the game. Herrick Costa had been quiet of late. So it was clear that out of the loud noise, from Pedro coming into this week, it showed that, and Koung has actually been very quiet in the entire thing. I know I reached out to Koung to talk to him. He said that when the whole allegation of him on past seller thing came out from Pedro, I reached out to him. He said, I cannot dignify that. I'm going to remain quiet. And his quiet too probably drew everything to his side. And we are where we are.
Okay, so let's just been joined by Joanne Prousey, but let's Wedi and Abdullah answer that question. Did Alexander B. Cummings miss up an opportunity?
I think Cummings, that was a missed opportunity considering how far he's come. He landed on the Liberian political landscape with no political experience, and people called him a novice. You cannot call him a novice now because he's been there for so long and he's established a presence on the political scene. I was thinking that the opposition would have binded forces, together. It might not have been maybe a Cummings Boakai ticket, but with support, from all sides, and with all the meetings and stuff, they would have come up with a united front. Because the more you have a proliferation of political parties, you find us going to second round all the time. Why can't we have a united opposition? And I think, I don't know what the political strategists are doing, with Mr. Cummings. Do they measure how Liberians voted, since the election in 2000, since the election of Madam Sirleaf? Have they followed the history, follow where these numbers are coming from? Because you need to pick people who, I know he's from the southeast of Liberia, but does the southeastern region have a strong showing when it comes to elections? So you have to measure all that, and you don't have to maybe be at the helm of the ticket, but for the sake of the country, you can make some sacrifices. So I think this was a missed opportunity on his part. Not working, with other opposition parties, but we will see what happens, during the elections. But right now with this pick, I think the UP is now head to head. So with the ruling CDC, so we might see a UP CDC huge showing in the elections and going to the runoff.
Let's hear from you, Abdullah.
Depending on Cummings' political motive, I wouldn't say it's a missed opportunity for him. I think it's a missed opportunity for many Liberians and not Cummings. If you did a survey across the country, Liberians prior to today would tell you one of Boakai Cummings' ticket. That was their expectation. That was the desire, the burning desire of the people across the country, was that they wanted Boakai and Cummings' ticket. I did not want that. I wanted a Gonglo's ticket. And I want a Gonglo's ticket, rather, not wanted. I want a Gonglo's ticket. But I know that when we sit in our strategic room with the Gonglo team, we know that the most formidable opposition force would have been a Boakai Cummings ticket. That was the aspiration. That was the desire. That was the wish of Liberians. So if anybody lose in this process, if anybody is a victim in this process, the victim will be the Liberian people, because their desire of having an experienced politician, an experienced businessman with a track record of service and deliverable on the ticket for president and vice president, they were hopeful of the better change. That they did not get that is a disappointment to them. It's a lost opportunity to them. For Cummins, I don't think it's a lost opportunity because he's calculating well what he wants to achieve from this process. So his calculation is leading him to where he's going. So I don't see any loss there for him.
But where, Ambula, where is the Cummings constituency? Where can you say, oh, this is where Mr. Cummings is gonna do a great showing? Now you have PYJ in Nimba County. Mm-hmm. You have Joe Boakai in Lofa. You have George. We are in the southeastern region. You can say that, because he's from there. But where can we exactly say Mr. Cummings has a showing that he's a powerful political force? Let's minus the social media talks, mm-hmm. Here and there. But where can Mr. Cummings actually?
You can't find it. You can't find it easily. But what the point I'm driving through is, for it to be a missed opportunity for Cummings, it must have been that Cummings was having an aspiration and desire for it.
Yeah.
But from all indication, it shows that he did not have any desire for it. He did not have any appetite for it. He did not make any effort towards it. So if he didn't get it, then it's not a missed opportunity. Those who had desire for it, those who had appetite, who were craving for it, were the ordinary Liberian people. Mm-hmm. They were the one, or they are the one who missed this opportunity, not Cummings. He doesn't want it. He knows what he wants.
It's politics, and sometimes what prompt desire is the move that, or the current reality prompt desire. So he saw the current reality. Are you saying Mr. President Cummings did not see the current reality in Liberia to encourage his desire?
He saw the reality that is a reality, but he doesn't believe it. Cummings doesn't believe that Liberian people will vote for Unity Party Joseph Boakai over him. That's his belief, and I can't fathom.
We saw that in the previous election.
Exactly.
We saw the numbers of Cummings.
Sure. For me as an individual, I can't fathom what strategy. I've been thinking about it. I've been asking people, what strategy, what is Cummings really doing that makes him feel that he can get into the second round? I have not seen it. I've asked people, they have not pointed anything to me, but that is his belief. The fact that he remains adamant, probably there is something to his chest he knows that none of us know. Until we can see it, I can't say it's a disappointment to him.
And I think that a lot of people feel Mr. Cummings don't have a political base, to say like Bassa is the Yumli, Monserrato was to Weir, or probably it could be argued, but still to Weir, and Nimba, like I see, Nimba now is going into three pieces. I don't want to be too sure. I think Nimba is going into three pieces. You see Koung is coming out of Nimba now. Gonglo is coming out of Nimba. Let's see what happens. Maybe Cummings might go with Gonglo. It is another shot into the votes of Nimba County. Prince Johnson, he's strong in Nimba. He rely heavily with Cummings, but I think it's yet to be decided. But Lofa Square to Boakai, the southeast where Cummings is from. We listen to Koung speaking Bassa. People feel that he might take the Bassa vote here and there based on the fact that he speaks the language. We know people say his parents were from one of his parents from the southeast. But again, the Grand Jita and Nima factor, there's a huge gap in that. We can easily, lay it. Cummings is from Maryland. The Speaker of the House is from Maryland. Can he pull the tricks, over Alexander Cummings? The entire Southeast, people feel that we are still do carry a huge base, So my thing is, people have to make their political calculation based on what the voting populace in Liberia see as a driven, force, because we know Cummins came way below second the last election. It was weird, followed by Boakai, Bronskin, So it's like the whole thing of Yombly. I think personally, in the next few days to come, what would the dust settling be like? Will Yombly feel that I can now nurse this entire thing and still support Boakai? It will send a strong signal. Will
I
Henry
think,
Costa,
yeah,
still, yeah, you coming with it?
yeah. I think Yombly still has a role
She still
because
do have
first of
heavily.
all, she's a woman and she
Mhm.
comes from Grand Bassa and she has a lot of following in the country. If you look at how Youngly was elected, a senator, you see how she mobilized. She has that to her advantage.
Yep.
So she is a key player, even though she's not a running mate, but she might make a difference,
Mhm.
in the
Yeah, and
opposition. So that's something, she has to be cradled.
and and I was just telling somebody just before I came on, Youngly could be a possible center protein, based on how arrangements could go on. She's qualified, she's professional, she's been there with all of the aisles, whether it's in the Senate, in other areas. Now, this is what people will be thinking on. Can we get Youngly Kanga Lawrence to support us? And then we can push her for the protein role of the Liberian Senate. That's one thing. So she comes with a lot. And she will not, I believe she will not just sit there and let this moment just fade away and say, no, saying I'm not a candidate, I will just sit on the block. No, I believe she will be heavily involved. She will campaign for a candidate, whether it is Cummins, I don't want to say Cummins because they still have that Liberty Party, quote unquote, CPP thing going, but whether it's she remains with Boakai or Swift 360 onto Weir, but it will all based on what can I benefit from my support to your camp. So Cummins, Gunglo, and Yumbly, these are the three players now that will have to tell the Liberian people this is the direction. Everyone know that is Weir versus Barker. The both of them have already announced, but in the coming days, where will the supporter for Henry Costa go? Argue everything you want. Costa do have a huge following base in our country, the young people.
I
It's
don't know about that. I
well, a
don't
lot
know
of
about that
uh,
because if you look at the last time he ran for office, that tells you how much support he has.
I will tell you still he do have
Maybe in
huge
the
following.
diaspora.
On
Well,
social media.
in the country, because look, we are ran twice
We saw
to
his
become
last
president, right?
his last return
So
to Liberia.
yeah, so let's look out of those.
Because
But
the noise on the street of Monrovia tells differently when it comes, and then when the final day comes, for elections, people look at serious candidates, and if you look at Tiawon Gonglo, if you ask me, Tiawon Gonglo is the best among everybody who's running
So
because
endorse him. Come join
he
our team.
because he has left no Mame give me chance, let me say what I have to say. Gonglo has a track record.
he comes with a lot of integrity. I
Yes,
know that for sure.
integrity is number one. He stood up for a lot of values. He stood up for press freedom in Liberia. This man is you can put your hands up and say this is a guy that would change the landscape. But is Liberia ready for someone like that? Are they set
Hmm.
up, for someone like that? They want to go after popularity. They want to go after someone who has money. So that's the dilemma that we find ourselves in. People are not looking for value.
I think that's the position we put our voters in. What can they
Yes.
get during elections other than what can the candidate you're supporting, offer after election? That's the position we put our voters in. So they have to base on that and tell you that
Yeah.
when you not win your election, I ain't seeing you again until the
Well,
next
we are
6 years.
seeing the methods
You
play
know,
over and over. When you elect these bad, you elect people based on these decisions. You see how it turns out. Look at what the country is in right now. It's in a really deplorable condition
Let's
because
hold you there.
people base
Let's hold you there. Whether
on
we
that.
jump into that, that's my next question. Looking at the current state of the economy, and so let me just say, Jeremiah Koung, senator of Nimba County, has been elected or announced as vice presidential running mate to Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party. Mr. Koung is 45 years old. He has 11 children. He's from the MD era. He was born onto the union of let me just get his bio here quickly so you know who is Mr. Jeremiah Koung there. But even though nothing is here about his marriage, they say he still have a fiancée. We hope that we can independently confirm that because we saw that today. Also, his father is from Nimba County. His father's name is Adam Koung. His mother's name is Esther Koung. They are from Nimba County. He was born on March 17, 1978 in Nimba County. So that's just a brief summary of Jeremiah Koung and few of the committees he held at the National Legislature. To be precise, let me go over this thing here. Committee at the National Legislature since 2021. Chairman, Committee on Post and Telecommunications. Co-chair, Defense, Intelligence, Security, and Veteran Affairs. Member, Committee on Health. Co-chair, Committee on Public Works. Co-chair, Committee on Public Accounts and Audit. So that was also mentioned in the U.S. report recently about his involvement, his thing within, like Abdullah said, these are kind of track record Mr. Koung has to his belt. So let's go into that, looking at all of these things, the recent report from the U.S. government. That's why I said, is Koung the right person?
I put it in two ways from the beginning of the discussion. Koung is the right person to give Vice President Joseph Boakai the votes he needs to potentially put him into the second round and making a competitive candidate. So he's a political asset. In terms of leadership, in terms of governance, in terms of repetition of a ticket internationally, domestically, and the government, he is a liability. He's a disaster. His track record in the legislature, his performance record in the legislature is completely opposite to everything we want as a country. He doesn't stand for any strong values. When issues are taken to the legislature that border around the security, the economic security, the social security of the ordinary people, Koung stand against it. And there are several instances we can point to, whether it is domestic debt, calling for accountability on domestic debt. As member of the Ways and Means Committee, the brush one side. Whether it's calling for accountability on the Ebola fund, on the usage of the Ebola fund, the push it one side. Whether it's accountability on, investigating the use of the road fund for purposes that were not intended for, the brush it one side. So all these things he did. The U.S. ambassador is talking about people putting money in the budget. In the budget, the resources in the budget are not going to those places, but rather being diverted. These are people sitting on the Ways and Means Committee. So yes, he has the vote. He can potentially deliver the vote for Joseph Boakai. But in terms of governance, in terms of leadership, in terms of repetition, he's a disaster and an SS package on Joseph Boakai.
Wade Williams.
Yeah, based on what Mame said, are Liberians ready for change? Or do they want the same things, to keep happening over and over again? Do they vote based on value? So that is something. So they probably go after the popularity. Prince Johnson, for example, this is why we have the Nimba problem. Until we can solve the Nimba problem, without elections in Liberia, we'll continue to make mistakes because there's this old warlord who keeps gambling,
Gambling.
He gambles with because this affects everybody. He gambles with the political system so much that he selects who becomes president in Liberia. He's done it. He did it with Sirleaf. He's done it with Weah. He's gonna do it again. So this man, he doesn't. Prince Johnson doesn't really care about, what Liberia will benefit, but it's all about what he can benefit from it. It's for his own protection. Because if you look at why he supported Weah because there were so many calls, for his prosecution. And he wanted the protection of Weah. That's why he supported Weah. And he's doing it again because we administration has made it clear that they're not gonna protect him anymore. So he switches to the UP candidate. And because he's so popular in Nimba, he goes to Nimba and he tells the people, you have to vote for me because this is a sacrifice. The sacrifices that I've made for you, you know. So the people are like held under his spell. The entire country is held under his spell, whether he gives us value or not. But this is where we find, the country. Koung might not be, according to what Mame said, he might not be a material for the presidency, but because Joe Boakai is so desperate for the numbers, he wants, the PYJ support. So he's going for whoever PYJ puts forth. So that's where we are.
Okay, Wade Williams, veteran Liberian journalist, and Mamin there, Ambula Mamin there, our guest. Sorry for the abrupt call on this show, but thanks so much for turning up. But before we go with you guys, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking at the entire country, Liberia, your own analysis of Liberia on the George Weah government. Let's take a break from our sponsor, the Park Liquor Outlet, and it's Friday. You can visit the Park Liquor Outlet and get yourself some drink, or visit the Brooklyn Chiropractic Medical Center if you have any bone or accident issue. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the current state of the Liberian economy and the governance of Liberia as a whole. And maybe we would like to show light on the U.S. ambassador statement. Keep tuned.
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or ride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kent. Welcome to Brooklyn Chiropractic. Come to Brooklyn Chiropractic if you're having any back or neck pain. Especially, we specialize in treating people in auto and work-related injuries. So we've been established here in Brooklyn Center for the last 14 years. And one of the pleasures that I have is helping out in the community. We've sponsored a lot of events throughout the years in the community. And we really appreciate being a part of the community. So if you're experiencing any pain, give us a try. If you want a drug-free way to get better. Thank you.
Indeed, thanks for joining us again on the Diaspora Talk Show. This is where we're discussing the election and nomination announcement of Jeremiah Koung as vice presidential candidate to former vice president and stand-up bearer of the former ruling party, the Unity Party there, and schools of supporters gather at that facility to listen to former Vice President Joseph Boakai. But let's join our guests, Ambula and Wedi. They are here looking at that pronouncement today. So let's go over now to our guests to look at the current state of Liberia. What's your own impression? Is George Weah getting out in October election? Did he deliver that hope for change, a change for hope, mandate he gave to the Liberian people? Let's start with you, Ambula.
I think George Weah failed. The promises he made, he filtered on them. He backpedaled on most of his promises. He's not in charge of the country. He prefers and enjoys the glamour of the president, but doesn't want to do the work of the presidency. He he subcontracted, or if you like, he, you know, turn over his responsibilities to people to execute, and the consequences and outcomes are just all over. Poverty has increased significantly since he took over. The promises he made to improve agriculture and make the country food self-sufficient, he failed on that. Even though we receive over 700 million since he became president, with support to the agriculture sector through different NGOs. But the inability of the government to coordinate and manage, those resources along with those NGOs are not being able to yield any result. You look on the streets of the country, you see poverty, you see destitution. People are losing hope. They are destitute. What he plans now to do is to use government resources, to use his influence to subject people to fear and intimidation. Hopefully that he can use that to win the election. I'm very optimistic, to be honest. I'm very optimistic that what Liberians experience during President Salif 12 years, in as much as it would have been better, in as much as she made significant errors on governance, especially in directing resources to the people, I think they feel that their life under President Sirleaf was far better than the life under George Weah. Civil servants in particular are the greatest opposition to George Weah. They saw the dignity they served under Ellen. They knew what it meant to take their salaries on time. They knew what it meant to work in office where there is dignity, there is value, there is respect. This time they live in a government where anybody can just walk from under the sycamore tree and tomorrow become director and instruct you on what to do when they don't even know what to do. They work and don't take pay. When they are about to take pay, the entire country is aware that they're taking pay today. That's I mean that's not yeah. When they are taking pay today, the Minister of Finance will announce that we are paying the people tomorrow. I mean, those are people private information. But because the government failed and reneged on her responsibility to pay on time, so she sees paying on time after 2 months as an achievement for her to announce. But announcing that achievement is undermining other people's privacy and dignity. You know what I mean? So they have experienced living good life, working under good atmosphere, a relatively good atmosphere than what they see and experience today. I'm sure they will reject George Weah.
Okay, let's hear you, Madam Williams.
Well, I think a lot of Liberians are disappointed with the current state of governance. They expected much more. They expected better. But the administration they have, failed to address, those issues that they were elected on. They failed to address corruption. They failed to hold people accountable. Most public officials are not qualified, to hold public positions. There's no check and balance in the country. A lot of people are crying, even though the world is going through a hard time. It's not only Liberia, but Liberia is such a small country. If you govern it, properly, you can make your people happy. But it's like 6 years has gone by without any substantial progress, from the government, in terms of improving the lives of the ordinary people. So this is going to be a challenging election for the administration. If we have a serious opposition in the country, this is going to be trouble for the incumbents. But if the opposition continues, in the trend, that it's going, and I think it's also going to be an uphill battle for them. So the writings are on the wall. Liberians have expressed, how disappointed they are. It is now left with the opposition to get their act together and go for this thing.
So if the opposition don't put the act together, you foresee President George Weah going for second term again?
Based on what I've seen with incumbent presidents, people who won re-election, first of all, they have state resources at their disposal. They dish money out. You go to the counties, you follow presidents on their campaign, you see they take boxes and boxes of money And you say, oh, people are not getting paid. People haven't been paid for months. But you see them with cartoons full of money, dishing it out, on the campaign trail. They're going to do that. There's no check and balance in Liberia. There's no transparency. The president is the law and gospel. He just needs to pick up the phone and make a call. The Minister of Finance is going to deliver, all the cash. It's going to be a lot of cash violence out there by, the ruling establishment. They're going to do whatever they can to win this thing. And even with the Elections Commission, with civil society, this is where, civil society comes in. We have to have a strong civil society. We have to push for better election monitoring, and we have to push, transparency at the level of the National Election Commission, because the ruling party is very powerful and they have the money, They can go all around the country.
Money
They
can
have
make
all the
bigger dance.
resources.
They say money can make
Yes.
bigger dance.
I bet you they will bring out rice. People haven't been fed for months, but you see rice. You see a lot of rice out there, giving it to voters. So we have to have a strong civil society. We have to have a prepared opposition, or else it's going to be a walk in the park for these people based on the resources that they have.
Talking about rice, they already got their campaign rice.
He bought it for them?
No, 500,000 worth of rice was donated by the
told
Saudi
you.
Arabian government to the government of Liberia.
They're going to use
using
that.
it. They are using it as a campaign mechanism. They decide who get what.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Saudi Arabian donated the rice, they didn't say we donate it to hospitals or to schools. They said we donate it to the government, and the government purposely made that request closer to the campaign so that they can have access to the rice and use it during the campaign. So you see a lot
when
of
the
rice.
when the president goes on those trips, it's going to be bags and bags of rice and boxes of money. He's going to be dishing it out as he goes. That's where the media also comes in.
Yeah.
The media, that's where they come in to look and follow
vibrant.
Follow the money, follow these things,
I did vibrant to do that. I did bold enough.
Yeah, you have to be bold, and you have to push the government. There is you have to ask for information, from these people, and you have to like educate voters. That's why we need organizations, civil society organizations. Do not sell your vote for rice, because it's gonna be temporary. Because after you sell that vote and the election is over, you have 6 years to wait before you can make another change.
6 years.
So you have to. We need a strong civil society, or else these people have the resources and the money and they can get anywhere.
And to Wadi's point, the way the media can work on this rice issue is the rice was donated to the government of Liberia for the people of Liberia. If the media can ask what the distribution mechanism plan for the rice, a request from the government that you receive 500,000 worth of rice to distribute in Liberia, what's the distribution mechanism plan? And if you can manage to obtain that plan through FOI, then after distribution, you can follow up on the distribution plan to inquire whether those who were on the distribution plan actually receive, or the communities that were on the distribution plan actually receive. That's what the media can do now, or else they will put it on pickups and distribute it to their partisans.
Yeah, and know what's on those bags. If you see a bag, that you have to know what the bag looks like. You have to. That's all. You have to know the markings and say, oh, this is the rice, that was donated for this purpose, and the government is now using it, for campaign. And I think public policy is also a problem in Liberia. If you have good public policy, you can make a lot of change, because you will have rules on elections. You will have election financing laws and stuff. How do you finance elections? What are the rules? What can an incumbent get? Who can support an incumbent, running for office? So we have to have good people in public policy who are not linked to political parties or political establishment to sort of like change public policy, because if you have these rules governing public officials, you will make a change. Even the president, he might be president. The United States, for example, the president is not that powerful. You, if you are president and you violate campaign finance rules, they will come after you. So we have to have a change in public policy.
That's why
I know we have a lot of public policy professionals out there, but they're not being hired by the government because the government is afraid. So we just have to keep educating the people. And another thing is social media. We are all on social media. We all have huge followings on social media. But when it comes to the country, social media is just 1%.
Why you say that? I mean,
because a lot of people out there do not have access to these things.
Yeah.
Electricity.
Yeah, data.
You need electricity. And Liberia now has become worse. You can't even, no one in Liberia can even call you anymore because it's so expensive.
Well, the thing is, I mean, those are the bread and butter issue we talk about.
Exactly.
The people had 3 days before George Weah came. They had 3 days free call.
Exactly.
They had a data bundle package that could take them through the week. He came, he canceled 3 days. By canceling 3 days, you automatically take money from the people pocket.
Yeah.
He reduced the data bundle price so that the government can receive more taxes.
Mm.
The LRA keep reporting budget surplus, but they cannot pay employees.
Yeah.
So where is the money going?
In their personal pockets.
Yeah. So access to this is even like a basic right. You live in the United States, you know what your internet access means.
Yeah.
You know it would be a problem if you don't have access to internet, like regular access to internet. And it's a problem in Liberia. People keep buying data. I heard about the data. I have to go buy data. I'm like, what?
And
you have to buy data to call somebody?
Yeah, they even spend more. I was telling somebody, my bill is like, my plan is like $56 just for a single phone. I have unlimited data. I can go away for 5, 10, 8 hours, 24 hours for an entire month. But just to recharge my family phone, I was looking at my transaction. I spent close to $200 and some dollars within.
That's unacceptable.
Days. I'm like, imagine that 43 days, I spent over $200 some dollars. Oh, $10, $15, $20. Oh, data, you gotta buy data, you gotta buy. And I'm like, because you need to have conversation with your family, you need to call them on video, you need to have, because we left our family in Liberia and coming to the diaspora to look for greener pasture. It's not easy. You need that connection. And I tell you, they spend a lot on data. That's why you guys said it's good, but we need to ensure that these things have changed. So what do you predict? What kind of leadership do you predict for Liberia in the next 6 years? As we wind down this interview, and probably this, you can give your last summary, things you want to say concerning the election of Jeremiah Koung for VP pick. Let's start with you, Wedding.
Well,
sorry. Let me. Ready? If we approval, let me start so that I can go. I got a 1 o'clock meeting, so I can just join my 1 o'clock meeting. I think I predict, like I can always say, if Tiawan Gonglo wins the election, Liberia will automatically change. There will be this discipline in public service. There will be hope. And besides hope, there will be actual transformation. The transformation will begin to see in 2 years, and Liberia will get on the path of transformation. If Joseph Boakai wins the election, what Joseph Boakai victory will do, it will not significantly change Liberia, but it will prevent the calamity that a George Weah second term will cause the country. So Joseph Boakai's victory will basically be a shock absorber and a prevention mechanism, but not a transformational mechanism. His victory will be preventing the disaster, the calamity, the hardship that a George Weah second term will cost the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambulade, for your political analysis. Let's go over to you, Madam Wade Williams, as we wrap up with you. Thanks so much for taking up our call to come so much fast on this program. Let's hear your pick.
Well, I think Liberia, there will be no change until we figure out how to elect better leaders and not just base it on popularity. If we wait October, November, if the opposition hasn't come together, they have to have a strategy to beat this regime. Because like I said, it's all about money. How do you get out there? How do you get around the country to convince, people to vote for you? How do you get people to realize that this is a bad situation that they're in and they need to change it? Liberia has been so traumatized. The entire country is traumatized, and we don't even know what's good for us. We're looking at, good candidates, and we don't even care. But one thing you have to think about you have to think about your children, your unborn children. You have to think about the future of your children when you're making these decisions. And it's going to be a uphill battle also for the Unity Party, because the UP was also a ruling political establishment under Madam Sirleaf, and there were so much, that happened during that administration. There were so many failures. You look at the VP also, for example. Joe Boakai was vice president, under Madam Sirleaf. What did he do to change the trajectory of his people in Lofa? So those are things that people are going to be bringing up. Is this a better alternative to the current political establishment that we have? Isn't this the same thing that's going to happen? They have the saying, Liberia, old wine in new bottle.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a tough decision. I don't know what's gonna happen with the Boakai, no, not the Boakai, the Alex Cummings, Gonglo. If they can have a ticket, Cummings, Gonglo on the same ticket, do we still have a chance? Can they bring on Yombli Kanga and set up another alternative?
Political cards.
So these three political, because if you look at PYJ he doesn't care. This is what, a man nearing the end of his life. He's only doing this for survival. But you have to think about your kids. How does this benefit your children, in the future? We've made all these mistakes, so we have to think about it as Liberians, and this is where the journalists, the media, and the civil society comes in, to help people, and see these things, in a broader perspective beyond, the noise and the, clatter every day and the popularity contest that we see.
Indeed, we need to see beyond the popularity contest. We say thanks, Madam Williams, for joining us, and we hope you will always come to show light on some political situation in Liberia, because your voice will help enlighten, educate other people about situation there. I know, follow a couple of your stories, so I hope you will always come on our platform. We are so much happy that you can come here anytime you want to. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, she's okay. Have a great day. She's Madam Wade Williams there, giving her own view about situation in Liberia. As you know, Jeremiah Koung has been selected by the standard bearer of the ruling former ruling party and current standard bearer of the Unity Party, Ambassador Joseph Boakai, there to contest in this October election. So Jeremiah Koung from Nimba County, Senator Jeremiah Koung, has been named as that man who will stir the affairs of things with Joseph Boakai during this entire campaign process. And if they succeed, they will definitely rule Liberia or lead Liberia for the next year. And schools upon locals there at the official announcement by Joseph Boakai. You see Liberians there queued up in numbers at the headquarters of the Unity Party to listen keenly to who's going to be the next we call them Rescue 2. According to their slogan is Rescue 2 has been named. Jeremiah Koung has been named. Jeremiah Koung, his beautiful fiancée are there, living their home. So Rescue 2 has been named by the standard bearer of the former ruling party and current standard bearer of the Unity Party, Joseph Boakai. Let's take a listen to Jeremiah Koung when he was named as running mate, vice presidential running mate, Joseph Boakai. Jeremiah Koung spoke at the event.
But just without anyone listening to them, we want you to know that a government that listening to you is on the way. A government that will listen and defend justice without favor. We cannot afford another 6 years of this government. We cannot understand and still learning how to lead. A government that is indifferent to our many cries. We have painfully watched for more than 5 years of a government that has no vision, no perspective, a proper agenda that is inflicted and distribute property. The young people of Liberia, I am happy to be one of you. The old man told me to remind him about you. And I'm always here to remind him. Why my mobile man there? The Kaka man there. I'm coming to you. And Pastor Boakai and I are determined to turn this country around. We want every child unborn to dream of a country that offers quality education, health care, and employment. We can get it done. And we'll lay out them for you. We will tell you the how. We will tell you. We want parents to know that there is a government that will account for their missing children. We want parents to know that there is a government that will solve the mysteries of disappearance. We want parents to know that there is a government that will answer to all of the unquestionable death. We want business people where I come from. We want business people to have certainty in business environment. You cannot be taking loans from government, from banks. You cannot be taking loans from banks at 14-20%, and you sell it in the market for 2%, 3% profit, and you expect to pay the bank. Definitely, you will not be able to pay. Crowd are people who cannot pay the debt. We will work with you to make sure that there is a business climate. All of you can work for yourself. We all don't have to be in government. Government is a place of service and not a place to make money. We have watched over 5 Western years The time has come that a new generation of leaders to take a deliberate and radical stand to reverse the backward direction of our country. Our brother and I have a history of working hard. We know how to work. The woman walked from Koya to Monrovia. I began man at the age of 12. From the age of 12 to today, my mom saw standing here, sent me to school up to K2. You know what K2 is? They used to call it Prima 2. You know what Prima 2 is? Today they can say K5. Now where my mom stopped me because she could not afford to pay my school fees. My aunt took me to third grade. I was 12 years old in the third grade. From that day to today, I went to school on my own golf first. I struggled at all of you. So nobody in this country understands your condition. Equal to Ambassador Boakai with me behind me. I've gone with Boakai to make this campaign about the ordinary Liberian people. It's about you. The old man told me, Jared, some people can ask me and say, Papa, why you say one wrong for? He said a thing running behind you. And if you not stop, you can't stop. You gotta keep running.
That's Senator Jeremiah Koung of Nimba County there, who was few hours ago announced as running mate, vice presidential running mate to Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party. And few lines from Joseph Boakai why he selected Jeremiah Koung of Nimba County. In his statement, he said, this vice presidential choice is a true Liberian who is willing to stand with me in fixing our economy, repair this broken system, reconcile and unite our people, and provide a better future for our children. I therefore ask you all to join and work with us, close ranks, and make the ticket a winning one for a better Liberia. Let us think Liberia, love Liberia, and build Liberia. That's why former Vice President Joseph Boakai and standard bearer of the Unity Party said why he selected Jeremiah Koung. And few lines in his statement, he said, in our search, we interacted. He said, in my search for a running mate, I sought to find someone who would join me as a partner and build a dedicated team of leaders to rescue our country. I wanted someone young and energetic who will commit to integrity and accountability in governance, commit to reconciliation and healing our country, and who, by their earlier upbringing, understand and connect with a youthful generation and nation still traumatized by war and denial, but yet is an example of success. So he's saying that that's why he wanted to elect that person who will help build Liberia. So this is the Diaspora Talk. We say thanks for joining us. That's the issue we have with you here. The big story is former vice president and standard bearer of the Unity Party has elected or has announced Jeremiah Koung as vice presidential candidate in this election process. So we say thanks for joining us. Let's take a word from our sponsor, and we see you next Friday. My colleague Cyrus McGee is not present. He joined us later, but he had to run to Enproud. CEO was in and out, but had some glitches there with internet. Abula and Wedi was our guest on this program. We said thanks for always following. On Monday, we catch you here with another edition of the program, the Diaspora Talk, looking at situation from Liberia. We will talk to other political actors on this election day on this election of Jeremiah Koung. We hopefully on Monday talk to Kula Fofana, who is from the Unity Party. She's contesting there in District Number 2, Grand Cape County. We'll also be discussing with other stakeholders there in Liberia, looking at the election or selection of Jeremiah Koung as vice presidential running mate to Ambassador Joseph Human Burger, standard bearer of the Unity Party. Let's see, we can leave you with this. Our political commentator Abdullah Katamba was keen on Jeremiah Koung announcement. He spoke few days before this announcement today. Who is Mr. Koung in Katamba's view?
It's important. Boakai is at a stage where he's old, right? Nature can take its course. Is this guy, Koung, can sit across global leaders and earn your respect, like Ellen Johnson Saliwu? Can Koung make a case? Can Koung have the experience to run a country? Has Koung overseen any conflict? Is Koung a reformer? Is Koung a bureaucrat that will maintain the status quo? Is Koung the guy who was a co-chair on Ways and Means? Ways and Means is declared by the State Department or the National Officer as the most wasteful, exploitative part of the national legislature. It was condemned in this particular report by the ambassador. Ambassador saying this is the Ways and Means Committee. Every budget got to pass, they got to get a cut. Everything got to happen. The Ways and Means Committee appropriates. So if they were check on the presidential power, the expansion of presidential power, why not have this problem? It is a collision of the legislature and the executive committee, the executive branch that one led to the statement. He condemned two groups in ambassador. The ambassador condemned two groups, the legislature and the executive branch. And the two others in the legislature, the office of the presidency, and the Ways and Means, they appropriate the budget. They look at the budget line. So I think it is important for people to look at day one. What is philosophy of governance? What is his position on corruption? What is the position on reconciliation? Do we know where he stands for?
And Abdullah Katamba there speaking about this nomination of Jeremiah Koung a few days prior to him being announced. It was speculated. Samuel Johnson, former senator for Boakai County, was at the Unity Party headquarters ahead of the official announcement, and he wants George Weah to be booted out of power in this October election. So he has been giving reasons why. Samuel Johnson is a member of the National Patriotic Party, and they are in coalition with the current ruling party, which is the Coalition for Democratic Change, CDC, of President George Weah. Samuel Johnson spoke to journalists there in Liberia.
The ratings are on the wall, the people are suffering, there's no accountability, the country is down, the country is broken into pieces, there's no rule of law. The government process in our country is there. Corruption is at the highest peak. Judicial killings are taking place, and nobody has to seen it. I don't have to say. They're suffering the business of our people, and so we want to change. So we has to go. It's the godfather of Boakai County supporting the president, Well, it is about the own going to the police. You instrument which why they didn't reach out to Boakai to make peace. He knows exactly, he has seen the light. And so we want women to come and vote. Any final message? Well, my only message that I bring for is we have to hold together. Today is the victory march for the opposition. Today is the victory march, forward march for Ambassador Joseph Boakai. This is his time. That is the time that God designated that he will lead Liberia, he will rescue Liberia, and put Liberia on the right path. That's what we're praying for, and we'll succeed in that direction. Thank you very much.
We will also see in that direction former Boakai County Senator Samuel Johnson there speaking ahead of the official announcement of Jeremiah Koung as a running mate to Unity Party standard bearer Ambassador Joseph Human Burger there a few hours ago in Liberia. They are endorsing Jeremiah Koung and Joseph Burger ticket. But hey, Senator Prince Johnson visited the vicinity where the program was held, and this is the reaction from the scene when Senator Prince Johnson of Nimba County entered the program ground. you see the Senator Prince Johnson of Nimba County. He's arrived there at the program that was held to announce Jeremiah Koung as vice presidential running mate. Jeremiah Koung is from the party of Senator Prince Johnson. And so you have it, that big announcement is out. Liberians, that's a big topic now on social media. Is Jeremiah Koung the kind of person to help lead Liberia with Vice President Joseph Boakai? So we'll say thanks for viewing this program, the Diaspora Talk. When we come your way on Friday, like I said, I just wanted to play you that few clips so you see the momentum there. We still searching social media. We saw you representing Yeke Koluba when he was going to the announcement ground there, and he was like heading a group of people there singing song and anti-government song against President Joshua and his government, and you know that they will unseat them. But like some of people are saying, if the opposition don't unite, they see another second term for the ruling establishment. And indeed, the ruling establishment, they are putting themselves together. They are about to ensure that, hey, these things happen because who wants second term? We will do everything to ensure that we make another second term. So this is a situation. We hope that the election of Mr. Koung from Nimba County as vice presidential candidate, but on the ruling party with Joseph Boakai, bring that opposition together, because there will be a second round of election come one May. So that's the situation there. You listen to a couple of the people, their reaction from the grounds, Prince Johnson and other people there giving their reaction to the election and selection of Jeremiah Koung. We say thanks for always following us, and this is Diaspora Talk. When we come your way, we catch you next Friday. Have yourself a wonderful time. Let's take a word from our sponsor, and we say enjoy yourself.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kent. Welcome to Brooklyn Chiropractic. Come to Brooklyn Chiropractic if you're having any back or neck pain. Especially, we specialize in treating people in auto and work-related injuries. So we've been established here in Brooklyn Center for the last 14 years. And one of the pleasures that I have is helping out in the community. We've sponsored a lot of events throughout the years in the community, and we really appreciate being a part of the community. So if you're experiencing any pain, give us a try if you want a drug-free way to get better. Thank you.